She leans in like a bouncer at a club door and says it slow, like she wants the whole cabin to hear it. What business could three little girls like you possibly have in first class? Do you even know what these seats cost? Did someone lose their children in the wrong section? The words land like a slap, and the air, that cold, recycled airplane air, goes razor sharp. Phones pause mid-scroll. A newspaper stops crackling. Three 12-year-old girls in matching navy blazers look up, blink once, and share a tiny, private glance that says, "You have no idea who you're talking to." At 30,000 feet, some people think altitude makes them bigger. Janet Morrison does. Arms crossed, jaw tight, the kind of face that looks permanently disappointed with the world. She stares down at Sophia, Olivia, and Victoria Thompson like they've trespassed on marble. "Of course," she mutters, like two words could carry a lifetime of prejudice. "Yeah, that happened. But here's the part no one in that aisle saw coming. Those girls don't cry, don't shrink, don't reach for a call button. They sit straighter, like they were built for moments exactly like this. Let me back up a sec. Their tickets were booked under their mother's maiden name, Johnson, one of those quiet family rules about humility, about not making the world bow when it should be meeting you eye to eye. No one on that plane knew they were the daughters of Edward Thompson, CEO and majority shareholder of Skyline Airways, the very airline whose logo was stitched on Janet's blazer. The triplets fly sometimes to watch their dad work, to sit in the back of a boardroom and soak up how deals breathe and fail and survive. Today was supposed to be another one of those days, until it turned into a stress test for the entire company's soul. Sophia answers first, calm as a judge. "We're here on business," she says, voice steady enough to set a metronome. "Family business." That should have been the off-ramp. Apologize. Reset. Offer water. But prejudice rarely takes the off-ramp. It floors it. First class is for professionals, not playtime. Janet says, louder now, like humiliation is part of the safety demo. Heads lift. A woman in 2B slips her phone into camera mode. The man behind the girls stops typing. The line between firm and cruel blurs, then snaps. The worst part, the girls have been perfect, polite, quiet, respectful. Their only offense is existing while black where a woman decided they didn't belong. There's a second current running under the carpet. In 1A sits Patricia Hayes, a Skyline board member. With 15 years of scars and victories, the kind of person who knows the company's heartbeat. From her angle the girls are silhouettes, but the tone, God, the tone, has her paying attention. In 3C, tech journalist David Kim hears that tone too, the one he's written exposés about. The death by 1,000 figures. He taps record. Janet spreads her palm. Boarding passes. The girls hand them. Over. She holds them to the light like counterfeit cash, reads them twice, thrice, announces for the cabin that, yes, these are first-class seats, as if price tags could shrink children. The implication hangs heavy. There must be irregularities with certain types of passengers. You know what I mean? Victoria, youngest, sharpest, tilts her head. Funny how someone's whole day can be ruined by something as small as skin color. The sentence slices clean and quiet. Silence spreads, that special kind where even the engine noise feels embarrassed. Then everything accelerates. Olivia's texting their mom, Dr. Sarah Thompson, because if you've got Wi-Fi at altitude and your family runs an airline, you use it. Headquarters lights up. Legal, HR, comms, the whole emergency tree. In the cockpit, Captain Rodriguez, who has flown the Thompsons for years and knows how the CEO remembers people's kids by name, gets a ping that curdles his stomach. Back in the boardroom on the ground, where a hostile takeover has vultures circling, Edward Thompson reads a note from his assistant, steps into a hallway, and hears what every father hears before he hears anything else. Your children. Meanwhile, Janet keeps going, about rules, about standards, about sophistication, like kindness is some elite club. "I've worked here 8 years, she announces louder. As if tenure equals virtue. Phones catch every syllable. David Kim's angle catches her eyes, wild with the righteousness of a person who thinks cruelty is policy dressed in polyester. Sophia stands. Not defiant, decisive. She's 12, but she's got that posture people pay coaches to teach them. "You're right about one thing," she tells Janet, and the cabin goes pin drop quiet. Words are cheap. But ownership isn't. A heartbeat. This airline is our family's. The sentence doesn't land, it detonates. Expressions pop in sequence. Confusion, disbelief, then the pale, awful dawning that everyone will remember where they were when they heard it. Patricia shoots upright. Oh my God, she breathes. Sophia, Olivia, Victoria. Names click into place with photos she's seen on Edward's desk. David adjusts his framing like a director catching the twist. Janet's face cycles through 17 emotions and lands on panic. That's impossible, she says, but the way she says it tells you she knows it's not. The intercom cracks alive. Flight Attendant Morrison, report to the cockpit immediately. Rodriguez's voice is calm, but there's steel underneath it. Before she moves, another voice cuts in, deeper, measured, the kind that makes boardrooms hold their breath. This is Edward Thompson. You could feel the cabin sit up straighter. He names his daughters, names what happened, and, without raising his volume, lifts the room. They have shown grace and dignity that honor our family and this company. Pride, clean and unperformative. There's no speechifying, no PR varnish, just a father and a CEO who isn't going to let culture be a slogan on a wall. Janet tries to pivot, hands shaking. I didn't know. Sophia stops her with a palm and a sentence that belongs in a textbook. You didn't attack us because you didn't know who we were. You attacked us because of who you thought we were. The line lands like a verdict. Olivia adds, soft but surgical. You had 20 minutes to choose kindness. And Victoria, gentlest and deadliest. Our skin didn't change. Your treatment did. Rodriguez again, formal now. Ms. Morrison, you are relieved of duty for the duration of this flight. Proceed to the galley. The aisle becomes a long road for a very small person. Passengers don't clap. This isn't a movie where applause makes it better. They watch. They whisper. Some look at the girls with something like shame and gratitude mixed together. Touchdown turns the tarmac into a stage. News vans are already angled like sunflowers. The girls exit with that same composure, heads high, eyes forward, while Janet is escorted through a service corridor that smells like coffee grounds and bleach. Different doors for different choices. Upstairs, in a boardroom full of hungry math, the takeover chatter dies when the Thompsons walk in. Edward's face changes. Everything hard in him dissolves when he sees his kids. He hugs them, then faces the room. Before any other business, he says, this company will make clear what it tolerates and what it won't. Patricia speaks. What she saw, what she didn't stop soon. Enough. The vote to terminate Janet is unanimous, with cause. Legal reads the language. Gross misconduct, discrimination, policy violations. Words that mean no severance, no soft landings. No good luck in your next chapter emails. Here's the twist no one had on their bingo card. The market, which woke up grinning at the thought of Skyline on its knees, watches the videos go nuclear and reverses itself. Investors don't always care about values, but they always care about momentum, and suddenly doing the right thing is moving the number up and to the right. The takeover goes from inevitable to impossible as public sentiment hardens into a moat the raiders can't cross without setting themselves on fire. HR starts rewriting training modules with fresh urgency. Comms turns the microphone outward. No spin, just the truth and what changes tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pilots text other pilots. Flight attendants text their group chats. Everyone knows the line moved today, permanently, and it moved in the right direction. And Janet, she goes home to find that the internet has a memory like granite. Applications bounce. Interviews vanish mid-email. Former colleagues stop responding. In an industry where everyone on the crew knows everyone else's stories, hers becomes the story nobody wants on their roster. She posts an apology video under bad kitchen lighting. Comments remind her the plane had better lighting when she did the damage. 6 months later, the contrast is almost indecent. Janet sits in a strip mall parking lot with a stack of rejections and a bank app that started using red font. You can be furious at her and still feel the human ache of it, but ache doesn't unburn bridges. Meanwhile, the Thompson girls keep saying no to talk shows and yes to school and service. They're in a magazine spread they didn't ask for, doing an interview they negotiated down to 1 page because they have homework. A business school writes a case about composure as leadership. A hospital wing gets a donation in their names, anonymously. Well, as anonymous as anything can be after a cabin full of videos. Here's the part that sticks with me. The moment when the cabin went quiet and Sophia looked out the window at the shredded clouds and said, almost to herself, "Funny how hate costs more than kindness." That line ricocheted around my head for days, because that morning, kindness would have cost Janet 30 seconds and a glass of water. By afternoon, hatred had cost her a career, a pension, the ability to walk down a jetway without people turning away. You don't have to be a CEO or a journalist or a board member to see the lesson. You just have to be a person who's been on a plane or in a line or at a desk, making choices in small moments that add up to your name. And if you're wondering whether those girls were spoiled or arrogant or silently gloating, no. They were heartbreakingly normal. They were 12. They were raised to let the truth do the loud work. So tell me, where do you draw the line between justice and ruin? Between consequences that teach and consequences that scorch the earth? Should Janet be unemployable forever? Or is there a version of repair that isn't PR theater? You know what I mean? Drop your thoughts. What feels fair? What feels like growth? What a community owes itself when prejudice shows up in a pressed uniform?